Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's World Redhead Day, Tony. You used to be a redhead.
Tony Kornheiser, you're right, but now it's turned flesh-colored.
I have pictorial evidence, video evidence. I could go to the phone, get back to 1988 in Seoul, South Korea, when you still had the remnants of a red afro.
Yeah, and I also, when I first grew the beard, it grew in red. It grew in red, but not anymore. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Spurs and Thunder are knotted up. Torch is getting it done, and Taylor Twellman joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the New York Knicks sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers out of the playoffs with a resounding 130-93 victory in Cleveland yesterday. The Knicks have now won 11 playoff games in a row by a total of 262 points, and that is an NBA playoff record. Wilbon, what does this sweep say about the Knicks, and where does it leave the Cavs?
Tony, it says that the Knicks, they're on a roll. I mean, they are. And now I look at the teams, I look at the opponents then and now, and I look at Atlanta, a total playoff neophyte. I look at Philly, who didn't even know whether their best player was going to be on the court night after night. And I look at Cleveland, which I'm always saying about, why aren't you people better? And I look at it, and I'm not convinced about the opponents. It's not the 27 Yankees, but the Knicks have been great. They discovered something. Mike Brown replacing Tibbs, your Knick fan people, your brother, and they wanted him fired 3 games into the opening series of these playoffs.
That's right.
And Mike Brown stayed the course. He didn't yell and scream at anybody. Right. He didn't talk about analytics. And, you know, he did make some adjustments. Karl Anthony Towns, a lot of the offense runs through him, which gets Jalen Brunson off the ball. It's been like magic. It's been wondrous what they've done offensively. The ball moves. I'm not going to say it moves as well as your favorite team, the 1970, but it puts you in that mindset. Yeah. They play beautiful basketball, this team.
Let me just get to the Mike Brown-Thibodeau thing just for a second. What you're not hearing right now are 3 things. 1 is that the defense isn't any good. You're not hearing that.
No.
2 is that the starters are playing too many minutes. You're not hearing that. No. And 3 is you're not hearing about disappointment, because there is no disappointment. Now, they may lose in the finals, but they may win in the finals too. They're playing better than anybody else in basketball right now. They are that good. I would like to say that I had this series right ultimately, not originally, because originally I liked Cleveland. And I like Cleveland because I like their big men, and I like Cleveland because I like their guards. I like Donovan Mitchell, and I like James Harden. But in the first game collapse, then I got off that and began to use the word sweep on this show. James Harden didn't seem enthusiastic the last couple of games. James Harden, again, had a terrible playoff. James Harden is a Hall of Fame player and not in the playoffs. In the most recent game, he was 2 for 8. He has
6 turnovers.
Right. Well, he had more turnovers than he had assists.
Again.
And he shot, let me get this straight, 18% from 3. And I find it hard to explain how this happens. Although it is possible that I could be told that Cleveland actually won this game analytically. And if Kenny Atkinson were to say that, I would ask someone to return him to planet Earth. The one thing I thought about was this. There was the question, because the Knicks were off for a long time, the rest or rust question.
They were rusty for 1 game.
A 4-0 sweep indicates they're not very rusty. And Landry Shamet shooting 92% from
5
3
for
in the
6
series?
last night from 3, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, aren't you excited?
Yeah.
As somebody who's followed the Knicks the entirety of your life.
Yep. Here's what I just don't want to hear. I don't want anybody to talk about isolating a certain player from this team and saying he's the best Knick of all time. No, stop. Willis Reed is the best Knick of all time. Willis Reed. Let's stay with the NBA playoffs. Let's move to Oklahoma City, where tonight the defending champion Thunder will host the San Antonio Spurs. This series is tied 2-2. Both teams have split games at home and on the road. Most recently, the Spurs held Oklahoma City to 82 points in Game 4. Wilbon, how should the defending champions feel heading into Game 5?
Like champions. You know, they've had shoulders to the mat with a 1-2 count by the referee each time and got up. And they did that because the MVP, the two-time MVP, I know he has not had a glorious playoff run.
No, he's not.
But when they had to have him, he responded. He was there. I expect that tonight. I expect Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to have a north of 30-point game. He may get close to 10 assists. He's going to defend because he's not a one-way player like some others that people like to glorify. So I expect that from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm not saying that OKC's definitely going to win this game, although I think I would give them a 5.1% chance to, 5.1 on the 10 scale.
But you think they're going to win?
I think they're going to win, but this is an epic series. And San Antonio is up to the challenge. They got Dylan Harper back, and now with a game under his belt after, missing a bit, he looks ready to go. This series is epic, Tone. It is.
I want to concentrate on the 82 points for a second. That's the lowest amount of points that Oklahoma City has scored in any game, playoff or regular season, since April of 2022. That's 4+ years. Yeah. 82 points is a joke. Okay, you got to score more than 82. The bench on that team the game before scored 76 points. The whole team in this one got 82 points. The Knicks could have a good half, and they could get 82 points. I'm sure. Now, you talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's the MVP. And you say he's been there when they needed him. Well, if you look at the numbers in this series, he's down 6.3 points a game. He's down 16.1% from the field, 11.9% from three, and he's overall minus in the series. So they need him. Yeah. You know where I am on the series. You know that I thought and think that San Antonio is going to win this series. I'm not going to demean Oklahoma City in any way. They're champions. They're a very worthy team. If Oklahoma City were to lose this would be an upset, and we both agree with that. And I do think they're going to win this game. But I want to say this. They're not playing a team that's afraid of them.
No, they're not.
Victor Wembanyama has publicly talked about winning 6 games. So he's talking about a championship here.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
None of them are afraid. They follow his lead.
Yeah.
But we've seen Oklahoma City close the door on people.
They're really good.
Right? And so tonight, again, people in Cleveland particularly, got upset, apparently, when I said this was the junior varsity series. This series is the undercard, that series, New York, Cleveland, compared to Oklahoma City, San Antonio. It is just that. It was the JV. The Knicks may beat the winner because they are having an Ali Frazier that somebody's going to have to go to the hospital when this thing is over. But wow, to watch it. To watch tonight, must see game. And now to the Stanley Cup playoffs. In the East, the Hurricanes have bounced back from their Game 1 loss to beat the Canadiens twice in overtime. And in the West, the Golden Knights can pull off an improbable sweep of the Avalanche tonight. Tone, which series, in this case, is the headliner to you?
The headliner to me is Vegas right now, what Vegas is doing. I think most people look at the NHL all season long and thought the teams in the West were the best teams. And Colorado was decisively the best team. Colorado won the President's Trophy, right? They were clear of Carolina, which was the next best team, by 8 points. Their goal differential was plus 99, the next best team. They were clear by 40 goals over Tampa Bay at that point. So they appeared to be a juggernaut, as I checked my notes. They went through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, 8-1, right? And now, what are they facing? Now you look at this and say, how is this possible? Now they've had injuries. Cale Makar missed 2 games. McKinnon is hurt.
McKinnon's a big deal.
Yeah, I understand. These are 2 of the 10 best players in all of hockey. But as I look at this, Colorado blew a 3-0 lead in the last game. They blew a 1-0 lead in the second game. My only rational definition here is the Torts effect. John Tortorella was brought in.
14 and 5.
He was brought in when with 8 games to go, and I believe that Vegas had lost 6 of 7. Since he got there, they're 18-4-1, and now they look like they're in a class by themselves.
They do, but this Montreal series, Tone, has a fascination all its own. First of all, you lose back-to-back games in overtime like that, and it was great listening to the great one, Wayne Gretzky, last night, talk about what it was like to lose overtime games in 1993. His Kings team beat Montreal in Montreal and then lost in overtime. And Gretzky said it was just demoralizing. You became dispirited. You just got beaten down. You got ground down, and they lost that series. And Montreal, Montreal has a goal disallowed relatively late last night, and it's the right call on the offsides. They had to go to video review, but Montreal had that goal disallowed. They lose that game, and now you wonder about their spirit in this series.
Do you know how many shots on goal Montreal has had?
Yeah, like none.
25 in 2 games. Not just 2 games, 2 overtime games. 25 total.
And they still should have won last night.
But Carolina is smothering them. Let's take a break. Coming up, United States Soccer names its World Cup squad. We will ask Taylor Twellman to break down its strengths and weaknesses.
We'll also ask him what Lionel Messi's injury could mean for his World Cup prospects.
Between us, we know nothing about soccer. Well, you know a little.
Just lately.
Don't you like Arsenal or something like that?
I've become, no.
Who do you like?
I'm gonna let you guess a couple of teams.
The U.S. men officially announced their World Cup roster today. Here to break it down is one of our favorite guests, our friend, the lead analyst for the MLS on Apple TV, Mr. Taylor Twellman. Let us start with this, the overall view. How do you see this roster in terms of strengths and weaknesses?
Tony, let's start with the strengths. The fact that the golden generation of player that I've deemed them for many, many years to this point will now be playing in their second World Cup. For record's sake, this is the most players the United States men have had since 1994 playing in a World Cup, 4 years later returning to play in their second World Cup. If I'm not mistaken, that's 13 players. So when you talk about Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, that's a strength. The strength also can be in the fact that they named 10 defenders. We'll get into that in a moment. But I look at that also as a weakness, and here's why. If you're naming 10 defenders, 7 of those 10 can ultimately play center back in a 3-back system, which is what Pochettino more than likely is going to do. Now you're making a statement to the public. You're making a statement to your players that we're going to be a little safe. I think the biggest weakness of this roster is in the midfield. If Tyler Adams gets yellow card accumulation or gets injured, they do not have a like-for-like replacement in this, and you handcuff yourself with naming a roster that's thin in the midfield. That, in my opinion, is the biggest weakness.
All right, that leads to a natural follow-up then, Taylor. If there's one player omission that caught you maybe a little by surprise, it would be whom?
Michael, it would be Diego Luna. In full transparency, since November of last year, I have said he's on the outside looking in. However, for the general public, Diego Luna has been the marketing machine for U.S. soccer. He's been in every commercial. He's been in every advertisement. The fact that they had the kit, the jersey reveal, he was in that. So for the last 16 months, when you talked about the United States men's national team, you talked about Pulisic, Adams, McKennie, and then you talked about Diego Luna. So I think the general public will be surprised that the Real Salt Lake midfielder is not in this roster. In my opinion, though, he was always on the bubble because he really doesn't have a position, a defined position within the system, but it's the first name that came to mind.
Okay, given all of this that you told us so far, including this defensive first philosophy that seems to be paramount, what is your feeling about the state of the roster in whole?
Us three have had many a good conversations over the past 4 years about the state of U.S. soccer with the appointment of Greg Berhalter again, and then him being fired, and then Pochettino coming in. There's one word I would use: apprehensive. Because of the 4 years. The 4 years hasn't been defined. The 4 years hasn't been convincing to the general public. And even those like myself that follow it for our daily lives every single minute, I'm not completely convinced that this group understands that they need to have their signature moment, that they are having home field advantage and in their backyard. I'm apprehensive. However, you two know this better than anyone. The last 4 years means absolutely nothing if they win their group and go all the way to the quarterfinal. None of us are going to be talking about the Reina versus Berhalter, the fact that they fell flat in Copa America, all of that. We will talk about none of that if they get to the quarterfinal. But if they fail to get out of their group, that is going to be talked about for years to come, because you could argue that U.S. soccer hasn't properly prepared for this World Cup, and that's why there's extra pressure on them.
We will get you out of here on this, and we will go wider. We will begin with Lionel Messi. You have been within 3 feet of Lionel Messi every single day for the last 2 years. He's your boy. We understand that. He left Sunday's game with what's being called muscle fatigue in his left hamstring. He's the most famous soccer player in the world and probably, well, maybe still the best. What do you think this means for World Cup, this injury?
Tony, 10 minutes after that game ended, I was in Miami when they beat Philadelphia 6-4. I immediately put it out in the social media avenues. I wasn't worried whatsoever. Before the 2022 World Cup, 18 days before, he had an ankle injury. We all know how that turned out. I'm not worried about Lionel Messi. And with Argentina in the biggest World Cup of having 48 teams, they can manage the 38-year-old's minutes. He will be completely fit. He'll be completely committed. And it's crazy to think that the reigning MLS MVP is now the reigning World Cup champion, kicking off in less than 3 weeks. This is a big moment for Messi and his legacy.
We are so happy to have you in the first of your 10,000 appearances with us. We're so happy.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.
Appreciate it.
Michael, thanks for the jacket, buddy.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, Wilbon's Cubs have lost 9 straight. What's up with that?
You're hurting me. The Astros throw baseball's first no-hitter in almost 2 years, but should it even count?
We love Taylor.
He's great.
Yes.
Great talking to you about this.
Yes.
He can break this down.
I know nothing about soccer,
and he makes
what he's
it
done,
irresistible.
I feel like I know. Happy time, people. Happy 27th birthday, Micah Parsons. The 3-time first-team All-Pro linebacker and former Rookie of the Year held out from the Cowboys last season and was traded from Dallas to the Packers. Parsons then signed a 4-year, $188 million contract with Green Bay, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Parsons had 19 solo tackles and 12.5 sacks for the Packers before tearing his ACL in a Week 15 game against Denver. Parsons is expected to miss the first 3 or 4 games of the upcoming season. How he comes back may hold the key to who wins the NFL Central Division, which figures to be a dogfight among Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago because Parsons is that good.
He's a menace. And I'm glad you called it the NFC Central,
Sure.
not the North.
No.
This North stuff. Parsons is that good. But I want to see him. So happy healing. I hope he gets better quickly.
Happy anniversary, Robert Parrish. On this day 39 years ago, the Celtics center punched Detroit center Bill Laimbeer in the face.
Boom, boom.
With 23 seconds to go in the first half, and amazingly was not tossed from the game.
No flagrant.
That game became a nail-biter, with the Celtics trailing the Pistons by 1 point with just 5 seconds remaining. Larry Bird stole the inbounds pass from Isaiah Thomas and found a cutting Dennis Johnson for the winning basket as the Celtics won 108-107 in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Johnny Mo's famous call was, "There's a steal by Bird underneath the DJ, and he lays it in."
It's good.
The Celtics won that series, but lost to the Lakers in the finals. The next 3 seasons, the bad boys would make the finals.
When Laimbeer got punched to the ground by Parrish, one of the favorite moments of my life, because I find Laimbeer loathsome. So did apparently a lot of officials, because Jess Kersey, a great referee, looked at him and said, "Get up, Bill, get up." No flagrant, no review.
Let me ask you a question.
None of that.
Would you want Laimbeer on your team?
Of course.
Yes, of course is the correct
Found
answer.
him loathsome on the
Happy
Pistons.
trails to yesterday's game for the Rangers. Texas got no hit by Houston as Astros pitchers Tatsuya Imai threw 6
Very
hitless
good.
innings. Stephen Okert added 3 outs in the 7th, and then rookie Alim Bear Santa threw 2 hitless innings in his major league debut to seal the no-no. Santa is the first pitcher to take part in a no-hitter in his debut since Bumpus Jones
Great name.
went the distance all by himself in
Great name.
1892. I was in high school. Of course, Bumpus, whose baseball card makes him look like a grumpus, then gave up 42 hits over the next 33 innings and was out of baseball by the age of 23. And other impressive pitching news, Brewers ace The Miz threw 57 pitches, clocked at 100 miles an hour or greater in Monday's 5-1 win over the Cardinals.
I told you, The Miz may match Skeens. He may be his equal, okay? And it's not a no-hitter if there are more than one pitcher involved.
That's right.
Can't get excited.
It's something, but it's not
right.
quite a
Can't get
no-hitter.
excited.
We would also like to acknowledge the passing of former Miami Dolphins defensive lineman, Manny Fernandez, who was 79. Fernandez was one of the stalwarts on the Miami Dolphins' no-name defense, along with others like Nick Bonacani, Vern Denherter, and Jake Scott. They were the backbone of Miami's undefeated season in 1972 and 2 Super Bowls. That defense was a precursor to other great defenses like the Steel Curtain and, of course, your '85 Bears.
So sadly, there's more sadness. Bob Horner, a terrific third baseman, as you know, for the late 70s and the 80s Braves, has died at the age of 68.
No errors today. We go to the big finish.
Let's do
Your
it.
Cubs, Mike. They've lost 9 straight. Break it down.
I told you this. I told you I feared it was going to be 15 to 20 with no pitchers. They got to get back, and how soon they can get back. It's almost June. We need them. Felix Rosenqvist won the Indy 500. Your analysis, please.
I missed the race.
Me too.
I forgot it. It's something I look forward to every single year, and I missed it.
Same here.
Missed it. Princeton won the men's lacrosse title. Northwestern won the women's crown. Your thoughts?
We handed North Carolina their only 2 defeats of the year. By 1 in Chapel Hill. They had the vengeance factor going too bad. Kelly Amani Hiller and the Wildcats win a 9th championship. Try that on for size. Congratulations. 6 seed Daniil Medvedev and 7 seed Taylor Fritz out of the French Open in the first round. Is that a big deal?
I wore this purple for you, just so you know, in honor of Northwestern. Is it a big deal? It's a big deal if Sinner goes out, because he's the best player in the French Open, because Alcaraz not in the French Open.
Yeah.
Last one, Colton Cowser of the Orioles has 2 walk-off homers in 2 days. Is another one tonight?
No, it's the Johnny Vandermeer rule. You can't get to 3. No.
We're out of time. We will try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now, your Sports Center.
The lacrosse team is really good.
We're great.
It's really good.
We're great.